The endowment effect is a psychological phenomenon where individuals tend to assign greater value to things they own compared to identical items they do not possess. This bias influences everything from economic transactions to sentimental attachments, shaping our decisions in ways that often defy rational logic. Whether it's holding on to old possessions, refusing to sell an item for a reasonable price, or clinging to underperforming investments, the endowment effect reveals how ownership warps our perception of value. Origins and psychological foundations. The endowment effect was first studied by Richard Thaler, a behavioral economist who explored the irrational tendencies of human decision-making. Along with researchers Daniel Kahneman and Jack Netsch, Thaler conducted a groundbreaking experiment in the late 20th century demonstrating how ownership skews perceived value. In their study, participants were randomly given a coffee mug and later given the option to sell it or trade it for an equally priced pen. The findings revealed that those who already owned the mug demanded significantly more than what buyers were willing to pay, even though the item had no sentimental significance and was obtained at no cost. This discrepancy between selling and buying prices highlighted a fundamental behavioral bias. People assign higher subjective value to things they own, even when objective measures suggest otherwise. The endowment effect is deeply rooted in loss aversion, a principle from prospect theory that demonstrates how humans feel the pain of losing something more acutely than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Psychological mechanisms behind the bias. Why does ownership suddenly make an item more valuable in our minds? Several psychological mechanisms contribute to this effect. 1. Loss aversion. According to Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, humans are more sensitive to losses than gains. This means that when we own something, giving it up feels like a loss, even if the item has minimal value. 2. Association and identity. Ownership fosters a psychological attachment. People subconsciously associate possessions with their identity, making them feel as if giving up an item is losing a piece of themselves. 3. Perceived control. When individuals own an object, they feel a sense of control over it, reinforcing the attachment and increasing the item's perceived worth. 4. Sentimental value. Even when an item is newly acquired and holds no personal history, the simple act of ownership begins to create an emotional connection, elevating its status. These mechanisms demonstrate that our valuation of possessions is not purely rational, it is deeply influenced by subconscious psychological biases. Real-world applications and impacts. The endowment effect extends beyond personal possessions and influences various aspects of life. Consumer behavior. Retailers and marketers exploit this bias through free trials, giveaways, and personalized shopping experiences. Once customers own a product, even temporarily, they are more likely to purchase it, unwilling to give up something they now associate with themselves. Investing and financial decisions. Investors often overvalue assets they already own, leading to irrational decision-making. For example, they may refuse to sell underperforming stocks because they feel attached to them, even though logic dictates otherwise. Legal and business negotiations. The endowment effect can complicate negotiations, as sellers demand higher prices than buyers are willing to pay. This phenomenon is often seen in real estate transactions, where homeowners overestimate their property's value due to personal attachment. Ownership in digital spaces. The rise of digital goods and virtual economies has further highlighted the endowment effect. Online gaming communities, for instance, demonstrate how players assign exaggerated value to digital assets like skins, in-game items, or NFT collectibles purely because they own them. Implications for decision-making. Being aware of the endowment effect can improve self-awareness and rational decision-making. Some strategies to counteract this bias include adopting a buyer's mindset. When considering selling an item, try to view it from the perspective of a potential buyer. Would you pay the same price you are demanding? Avoiding emotional attachment in investments. Investors should assess their assets based on merit rather than sentimental connection. Detach emotion from financial decisions to prevent costly errors. Questioning assumptions about value. Ask yourself, do I value this item because it's genuinely useful, or because I simply own it? Re-evaluating why an object feels important can help reduce irrational overvaluation. The endowment effect is a powerful bias that affects consumer behavior, investment strategies, and everyday decision-making. It reveals that ownership alone is enough to distort our perception, making us believe that our possessions hold greater value than they objectively do. By understanding this cognitive tendency, we can make better financial choices, resist manipulative marketing tactics, and improve our ability to negotiate rationally. Whether designing engaging visual prompts, refining creative strategies, or analyzing audience behavior, recognizing the endowment effect can offer deeper insights into how people assign value, both rationally and irrationally.